Ashley, if you want to pull up the slides, I can kind of get started on introducing us and the topic. So again, today we are going to be talking about why authenticity matters throughout the buying journey. There's been lots of talk about AI and technology and how that is, I mean, it's essentially impacting everything. I think that we are hearing, whether it's as a B2B professional on the consumer side, and has tons of value, but it also has, I don't know, call it its pitfalls, its downfalls, if you will. And at the end of the day, I was in Austin, Texas earlier this week for one of our in-person events. There is nothing that beats the in-person connection. And so we're going to be talking a lot about authenticity and how you can drive kind of the in-person connection to foster the authenticity there. And I've got a couple of folks from Coup Champagne that are on the panel here with me. So let me first do some introductions of us all. So hello, everybody. Matt Valm, CEO and co-founder of RevOps Co-op. We are also running RevOps AF, which will be in sunny San Diego in T-minus 3 weeks now. And Ashley from the Coup team will actually be there live and in person. And so with the conference, still time to sign up, snag your ticket online at our website. We'll drop that link into the chat if you want to hang out with 200, 250 of your RevOps friends and experience some truly authentic, to hit on our theme for today, San Diego experiences, as well as level up your RevOps game. We've got just the event for you. And then I've also got Ashley Starr, who is on the marketing team over at Coup Champagne, and Ryan Tu, who is the founder and CEO over at Coup. And so I guess, Ashley, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit more about yourself professionally, and then I always like to ask for one kind of interesting personal fun fact, non-RevOps related, non-marketing related, non-Coup Champagne related.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for being here. So my name's Ashley. I work on the sales and marketing side at Coup Champagne. I've specialized in like the tech, SaaS, small startup world for close to the last 10 years now. So a lot of fun. Excited to be here today. My non-work related, non-business related fun fact is that my taste in music has really not changed in the last 15, 20 years. I still listen to almost exclusively early 2000s pop punk. So that's
nice. All right, who's your favorite pop punk band from the early 2000s then?
So I finally, like 2 summers ago, got to see My Chemical Romance live, and that was like a bucket list item for me. So definitely My Chem.
Nice. That's awesome. I support all of the emo bands from the early 2000s. Big Dashboard Confessional fan here. Dylan just saw on our team, saw Taking Back Sunday at Coachella a couple of weeks ago. And then yeah, we were actually in Austin. We just met with one of our other partners. We were joking about like what the name of our like RevOps emo band would be, and we landed on we'd call it the Average Scuba Diver, is what we thought was a very like, pop punk emo band name. So I love that. And I fully support your choice in music as well, Ashley. So, all right, that's awesome. All right, so we've got early 2000s pop punk My Chemical Romance fan. Ryan, I guess tell us more about you professionally, and then anything on the kind of fun, interesting personal facts side that you can provide.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first, I love that. I never realized about that for Ashley. So having worked with her, but you learn all these things, right? And I don't know that band so well, but I do love that. Is it called like the Black Parade or something like that? It was like a really cool video. I love that song. So Ryan Tu, founder CEO of Coup Champagne. And my background is sort of all over the place, has a smattering of this and that, a bit of private equity, a bit of family business in the consumer products world, and then sort of entrepreneurial startup in the champagne world here. Never thought that we would really land in SaaS as one of our really strong verticals. And we'll tell the, sort of more about how we fit and why we're relevant, but it's been a really interesting journey here. A little bit of a fun fact for me, during the pandemic, I'd lived in the city for, I want to say over 20 years. City, when I say city, is San Francisco. Moved out here to the burbs in the woods where you can see I live in an A-frame right now. We talked about this a little bit earlier. And a bit of a fun fact too is during the pandemic, going on the music theme here, I recorded, I want to say 9 tracks in an album that I have not released yet, but did the whole 9 yards, worked with a producer, came up with lyrics, and scoped out entire songs, actually all mixed and mastered. But they're sitting digitally on a drive somewhere that I have not released yet.
That's awesome. There's actually one of our other partners, a company called Revelier, their founder and CEO, Raja. He actually recorded a couple of songs as well, and I can't remember the name of his band name, but he put them out there on Spotify. So apparently there's a common theme going of music creators, and then, at least I don't know about you, Ashley, but I'm on the consumption side. Like, I will listen to music all day. I will definitely not be creating it. I'll leave that to the folks like Ryan. So all right, well, that's awesome. I love that. So we are going to spend about the next like 20-ish minutes kind of going through some content on authenticity, specifically talking about kind of gifting and some unique ways that you can drive positive outcomes for really everyone involved. And then for the last 30 minutes or so, Nick Mehta, the CEO and founder of Gainsight, is going to be joining us, and he's going to be talking with Ryan about some of the things that they do specifically at Gainsight and where they see kind of tons of value and ROI on this. So Ryan and Ashley, I'll turn it over to you to kind of get started on kind of the content and things that we want to share with folks today.
Thanks, Matt.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, super excited to share. And maybe you all have seen some of this before, maybe not. If it's new, I think it's definitely worth diving into. So there's a legendary, I call it legendary, outbound campaign that was run by Sam Blond, who actually is out here in the Bay Area. Had the privilege of spending some time with him at one point, more socially than anything. And he went through, and I had no idea about this. This is pre us getting involved in the SaaS world, but he used a champagne bottle as one of his most successful campaigns. So he had joined a company called Brex, who you all probably have been familiar with or maybe even use. And they were at zero revenue, trying to figure out what to do and how to get in at the ground level. And his campaign, not surprisingly, actually, and maybe knowing Sam very little, but still I can connect the dots on how the idea came about, is send a bottle of champagne with a handwritten note to 300 CEOs that had recently raised either a seed round all the way through a Series B, and then follow up with that a note from the CEO, an email actually from the CEO, asking if they wanted to participate in a demo. And the results were just phenomenal. So, it's a 75% conversion rate on CEOs saying yes to the demo. And then of those who went to the demo, 75%, right? So here we have a ground level, $20,000 campaign, that converted 169 paying customers. And so when you think about that, it's like, and that's the reason why I call it legendary, is that such a creative act of thinking about how to get in front of somebody at an unexpected time, and how we can use that to continue to, again, foster in a conversation, a little bit of attention, and then showcasing a great product. So actually, if you can hit the next slide. We sort of dissect, when we look at things like this, we dissect success elements. And the first one that rises right to the top is surprise and delight. And we'll talk a little bit about this later, but their company sent out a gift at a time where no one was expecting that gift to arrive. So imagine if you're in the box of the CEO, great, you raised the round, right? But life moves on pretty quickly. and
Yep.
there's, actionable items you have to do. You got to worry, I would say even more pressure to worry about the next. And so to have a gift that comes in, you don't have no idea what it is. You open up this box. Wow. It's a champagne bottle. What is this? Curiosity, mystery, read a handwritten note, highly personalized. It gives you that time and attention. And so these two, we sort of just have some, scale of how we think that they did on the personalization element on the surprise and delight, rating pretty high. I think they started with a great target list, so certainly very relevant. They went after venture-backed companies, and they've definitely established a very successful business based upon that. And then, of course, having a great product. And I think that some of the takeaways here are that, the great product it's sort of like table stakes, right? We always have to assume that we have to have that. If you don't have it, well, it's going to be that much harder. But gifting in general, or the tactic that he used, essentially gets you that time, that moment for you to showcase. It's sort of like your 2 minutes of fame, if you will, and the rest is up to you. And so there's no guarantee that your product can ever sell, but I think what's important here is to notice the sequence of how he did it, and how we would suggest the best practices is first you create that connection, that authentic connection, and then you close the deal. And so before you sort of can't get to the second. Now, of course, there's all sorts of exceptions, there's all sorts of different ways, but in general, when you're dealing with CEOs, especially, or higher up in the org chart, we feel like this is more and more important. And then what else is going on behind the scenes? Well, I think, the CEOs feeling valued and appreciated for their time and consideration. Everybody needs to parse their day. And whether it's subconsciously or consciously, I think that there's a lot that goes on, and that is kind of built into us as humans that gets us to respond and react to certain things. And so when a gift like this is open, surprise and delight, it's personalized, all those components end up together to give you those few minutes of attention for you to, kind of pitch your great product. And so if you reflect back on maybe the topic of today, which is like, AI and how we can use AI, and the contrast between that, I think this is a really good counterpoint that really says, words, no matter how nicely that they're written by AI, those are just still words. And so you really have to step back a bit and say, okay, AI can do really great things with words, but how can we generate authentic connections with CEOs first? And this is just a phenomenal example.
Yeah, I love that. And I don't know, part of, I guess, like some of the, I guess, the surprising part is I also think we have a tendency to overcomplicate things unnecessarily, right? But at the end of the day, like you said, this was a bottle of champagne and a handwritten note, and the outcomes were incredibly positive, right? And so, yeah, you don't need something, I'll say, like super fancy or super complicated or super complex, right? It can be as simple as a handwritten message with a nice bottle to demonstrate that you are being thoughtful, and again, that you are a true human on the sending side, right? And not a robot.
Yeah,
things
it's a really good point, because I mean, I guess what didn't he do?
Yeah, it's
they
just as
didn't
important, right?
exactly, like it wasn't a $500 Amazon card or a $200 Amazon card. It wasn't that. It wasn't an email drip campaign. I mean, it was a physical, tangible thing connected with a handwritten note thing, followed up by the digital, right? Like I'm sure it was a very nicely worded email. And the audience was also, the email came from the CEO, the note came from the CEO. So matching that, we'll talk a little bit about that too. So I think it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so next we're going to dive into a little bit of like corporate gifting stats and some of the trends and things that we've noticed from looking at these. So the first one there is pretty obvious, right? 97% of recipients of a corporate gift said it made them feel valued and appreciated. I think most people can agree gifting is good. Most people like receiving gifts. It's kind of the general thought. But when you go a layer deeper and really think about what do people like receiving and how can we help it to build relationships? So looking further down the line on these stats, 40% of corporate gifts are personalized. That means the majority are not. And 37% of all corporate gifts are actually just a gift card. So just really thinking like, how can we use those dollars, right? If we're sending a $200 Amazon gift card, what can we get for $200 that's really going to make them feel special and know that like this is coming from human to human? I know you, I'm reaching out to you for a reason. Couple other things too is, 80% of top tier companies use corporate gifting as part of their marketing strategy. Shows it's successful, right? A lot of companies are doing it, and 50% even plan to like increase their gifting budget. So really just getting strategic and thinking, what would be the gift that I want to receive? What's the experience that I would want to receive, and give that to your staff. We've got one more slide here, diving a little bit deeper into corporate gifting stats. These ones cover like a specific study that was done, just kind of going over the fact of people who got corporate gifts and like how that made them feel, how it made them think of the company. It made them a lot more likely to reach out. So just like Matt and Ryan were saying, like something simple, but a way to stand out and build that good relationship and have your prospect feel really good about your company and excited to work with you is huge. And that's just something that AI can't replace. It has to have that human element to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so next we're going to dive into kind of some gifting best practices. So who are we sending gifts to? A lot of what we've been talking about is gifting to CEOs. I know that's a huge topic right now, is moving up the organization, up the ladder, going directly to the CEO and the decision makers. But that doesn't always have to be the case. There's no one right approach. If you're stuck or you can't really figure out who to identify, think about who you want to build a relationship with. And that's really gonna lead you in that right direction. Think from that genuine perspective. So timing is critical. If you think about it, let's say during the holiday season, most people are receiving a bunch of gifts. Could get lost in the shuffle, might not feel as genuine. Whereas that true surprise and delight of sending a gift at an off time, or randomly just because, or for some reason outside of the standard, I think is really huge and going to make a big impact, and those results are going to be a lot different. And that's, it goes back to that study we were just talking about, where he sent it because it was after they closed that series. So it wasn't like everybody was sending congratulations. Things moved on. They were working on other things, and then they sent them a gift.
Is there I guess on the whole notion of when and timing, Ashley, is there like obviously you mentioned like holidays versus non-holidays. Is there anything else to consider there on like when can make the timing I don't know, like you said, unique and kind of more meaningful?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I mean, number one is, I think it's just kind of fun to get a random surprise, right? Like you could make it totally random and just say, hey, I really wanted to make your Monday, so I sent you over this gift. Also too, looking at milestones, whether it be personal, professional, things like that. Like, oh, everybody sends a gift for the 25th business anniversary, right? But what about the 24th one? Let's celebrate that. Like, let's look for those moments in the everyday. I'm sure Ryan, you could probably add a little bit on that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's so much. I mean, when you follow people and you truly get to know them, and a lot of it's displayed on social media, LinkedIn these days, and that there's just all these ins, whether it's like Ashley said, personal or whatnot. I mean, you can go something as simple as certain days, like, gosh, today's probably like, taco day, whatever, right? I mean, like, so there's all sorts of days that you can pick that are somewhat connected. Yeah. We can, I think humans are we're all very good at like connecting the dots once we have a couple of them. And but I think, we mentioned this here, and it's great to pause on the surprise, because I think if there's anything that's the most important, apart from the budget and apart from like all these other things, it's like actually doing it outside of something that's expected. I think that is just the smallest thing can connect so well if it's just done at the right time. And I think that can't be underscored enough.
Yeah, I like that actually. That reminded me, I think at some calendar we have around our own house, there's basically like there's a thing for every single day, right? So like you mentioned, like, I don't know, Taco Tuesdays, but like they're actually, one of the things I noticed, I think it's in January, is there's like, I want to say it was called Houseplant Appreciation Day, like something like that, right? And I don't know who made that up or why it wound up on this calendar, but like that was a thing. right? And I guess you can't see it now because of my virtual background, but I have like 17 plants, house plants behind me, and I have probably another like 20 throughout my entire house. So like those are things, right? Like you said, the timing can be quote unquote random because I doubt anyone's gonna know about, like, call it houseplant appreciation day. But that can also be something where you can tie again the timing to, you know, the actual gift itself, right? To deliver some of that surprise and delight, if you
Yeah,
will.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so like there's obviously many different occasions that you can gift for. Let's say you take a really popular one, which is just client gifting, right? So you have a client that you already have, really value them, you believe in the idea of like continue to foster great relationships with gifting, you know, as a way to continue to connect and build on your relationship. And we would say the worst time to give it is the holiday time. You just don't do that. You might as well pick another, like, you know, again, just like shuffle the calendar and pick a random date is better than the holidays, because during the holidays, as you know, Ashley mentioned, things are busy. You expect it at that time too. And when you expect something, the mindset already of someone who's receiving it is very different than if you got the same thing, the same exact product, like, I don't know, earlier in the year for, I don't know, Veterans Day, let's call it, or for their you know, some other thing, you know, National Plant Day connects to something perhaps that you know about them, you know, enjoying plants. I think that that's just and I almost look at it as lost opportunities. So for people who have budget and they're spending money and they're giving gifts, let's say at, you know, at the holidays, you can get so much more by doing it off cycle, let's say. And all else equal, you just need to shift the timing.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then diving into automation. So a couple things that at least we recommend looking for and think are important when you're setting up a strategic gifting program is, you know, find companies that are easy to send in bulk, maybe have fast turnarounds, low minimum orders for personalizations. Customer service is super important. You know, you're gonna want to be able to reach them to track packages, make adjustments if needed, things like that. For larger campaigns, there's so many great resources to, you know, integrate with your CRM, with like gifting platforms, Sendoso, ReachDesk, Postal, or just to name a few. So I think integration and automation is great, but if you don't have those resources, start small and build from there. I think it's a big question, you know, how much to spend? What are we buying? What are we sending people? And for any size budget, you really want to think about like, what is the most impact I can make for this? If it's $100 a gifting budget, then what is like the best way I could spend this $100 to make the most impact? So I always think of that. General rule of thumb is, you know, higher up in the organization, if you're gifting to a CEO, it's probably going to want to be a bigger budget so you can really grab their attention. But at the end of the day, do what you can with what you have and make sure that it just has that authentic human element and is really personal to them. And I think it'll make a big impact regardless. And what to give. So this is another big question is, I don't know these people. What do I send them? And so just really think of the experience you would want to receive. How can I give that? Ask yourself these questions. Really make the gift about them. Personalize it with their name or a message of something that's going on in their world. Think about all about them. It's not about you. A marketing piece would have your logo on it, right? But let's maybe put their logo on it, or let's put their name on it. So it's really about them and it's something they want to keep. And it's going to spark conversations for years to come.
Okay, great. I know we only have a few minutes left here, so you know, I'll go through this briefly. You know, in general, I believe that as you know, we're looking at the arc of, you know, our existence here for the few years that we're on this planet. I think that certainly the digital age is shifting us from, you know, purely, let's say, human interactions, obviously more to the middle box, where a significant portion of our time is now spent, you know, digitally, which is great. It opens up broader. We can connect with people around the world, around the globe, any point in time. And it's never been broader than ever. But I also think that it's never been as shallow as ever before. And so how do you sort of counteract that? And I really think that not just, obviously our product, but gifting in general, and also thinking above that is making sure you take the time to really shape and not fall into something as if you were just, flowing in a stream of this is how you do things. And so I really think to get to that championship level, don't look at yourself as a commodity. Don't look at your product as a commodity. We're not selling commodities here. We are building relationships. And the more you start with that as your core and then build out from there, I think you have, I guess from a long-term perspective, that's when you're building championship teams. So but the right-hand photo, we work with the McLaren dealers. And so they use us for their gifting. And so it's a really cool metaphor for successful teamwork, as well as, every component being really important. And then the last thing I said is, in this digital age, we have to think digital. We have to use all of these tools, but really we have to act human. And I think that what does that really mean? I think that it takes time to really unpack that, but I think the first step would be to spend time thinking about that, what that really means to you, rather than just like getting caught up in the flow of let me buy this tool, let me automate this, and let me just go with what we think are best digital practices.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I see we've got Nick that has joined us. Nick, hello
Hey,
there.
Matt.
Welcome, my friend.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Ryan. How you doing?
Hey, Nick. Hi, how are you?
Doing great. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just move into this portion if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that sounds great. So I know that we'll be following up with folks who did register to kind of send out a bunch of materials and things to them too. But for the next kind of 30 minutes or so, I'd love to Ryan, have you and Nick kind of go back and forth, because I know Nick is a very big kind of proponent of authenticity throughout all things that he does. Gainsight is in a unique position, obviously, as a leading CS platform to leverage AI technology, but also I know that Nick is a big proponent of kind of being human-centered and, I don't know, call it human first, right? Authenticity, very important. So would love to kind of get some perspective from him and you, Ryan, on things that he's doing at Gainsight, how he's approached building a company in this way, and just building those long-lasting relationships.
That's awesome. Thanks for that. And hey, Nick,
Yeah.
So Matt actually started us off with like this fun fact stuff. Ashley said that she went to My Chemical Romance concert. She loves them. I said I recorded an album to be released, not yet released, during the pandemic, and it did this music theme. And I know, anyways, I wanted to tee you up and see if you could share a fun fact before we dive into other topics.
Sure, totally. Let me fix my lighting here. Yeah, so there's so many weird things about me, Ryan. You know that. Like, I'm definitely I don't know how many normal things there are about me. Definitely a lot of weird things. So I would say I'm a 46-year-old guy, tech CEO, who's a huge Swiftie. So that might be, if there is a fan club of like 40-something-year-old guys that are Swifties, I'm the president of that fan club. And that shows up in, I'm going to my third Eras concert in November, which is kind of crazy. If they did the Spotify like top list, I'm like at the 0.001%. And I also am like I'm not necessarily the best writer, but I like writing and creative. And so I'm currently writing a book. I don't know if I told you about this, Ryan, or not. It's a set of poems inspired by Taylor Swift songs. So if that's not a fun, weird fact, I don't know what is. Yeah,
that is awesome. Now, all right. So, what's your favorite song from the new album then? And yes, you have to pick just one. You can't.
I've listened to it. I'd say, but Daddy, I Love Him. It is such a fun song. I love that song. But I listen to that Tortured Poets Department all the time. So this morning.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was gonna put Fortnite and Florida.
Fortnite's also, and Florida's great. I thought about buying a timeshare in Destin just because of the song. So.
Oh, that's great. All right, Ryan, go ahead.
I love it. Yeah, no, this is all great. It's great stuff. Love learning all these nuances about people on these calls. Okay, so my first is I'm reading this, from your purpose statement. At Gainsight, our purpose statement is to be living proof you can win in business while being human first, which I love. The idea, the question is, can we be successful if we're truly ourselves and treat others as humans too? It's an experiment. So that was sort of like your perspective on that. And then on your website, it says Gainsight is your new AI-packed superpower, right? Right, bold, right in the front. So I'd love to just start off and understand, how do you feel about AI as part of, your business? How do you see it influencing your human first purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, very timely, because we do a big event every year. Some of you know we sell software that helps companies be more customer centric and drive better retention and expansion from their customers. And we do an event every year called Pulse. It's actually next week. So if anyone wants to go, still time to register. We'll have a few thousand people. It's in St. Louis, Missouri, Wednesday and Thursday next week. And it's the theme is no surprise, because every conference this year has to be on the theme is AI, right? But what we call human first AI. And the idea is blending this like incredibly like in some ways scary new thing of AI with this like idea of human first. And it feels like it's a cognitive dissonance, right? That's like, people talk about oxymorons. It feels like that. But the way I think about it is the optimistic view of AI is today we spend a lot of time on things that are not very human. So think about like working in the business world and you're like updating some system like a Salesforce or Gainsight or whatever. You're typing in information, you're preparing your boss for something, you're sending a report. And I think not just in our world of customer success, but in general, I think one of the things that's really great about AI is it's going to allow us to spend more time as employees doing the more human things, whether it's connecting with our customers or connecting with our teams, right? And so one side of human first AI is the idea that it will let us do the things that only humans can do, because we can automate a lot of that data entry and things like that. And the stuff you can do is incredible, as most people already know. And then on the other side is, how do we humanize the experience for our customers? That'll tie into this conversation pretty well, right? Where today you think about like the experience in the consumer world, it's become pretty amazing. Like, we take it for granted, right? But like, Amazon, you press a button and something's at your doorstep like 2 hours later, and they know exactly what you want. And Spotify's got my AI day list, which turns out to be all Taylor Swift. The AI has figured out what is patently obvious. And you look, if you haven't used the day list feature at Spotify, it's amazing. It comes up like a playlist for you based on AI, it names it, right? And so all these technologies, Apple, Tesla, they all feel like they get me. They understand me. They knew who I am as a human. But if you look at the world of like business, it's not like that at all, right? Like you're like on a website, it's confusing. You're trying to open a support ticket. You're trying to take a training. It's not human at all. It feels almost like one of those like press 1 for this, press 2 for this, right? And so how do we use AI to bring a more human experience for all of our customers, right? And remember like who they are. A simple example there, right? We're like, one of the really cool little things we're doing is, people record a lot of their conversations now, like their calls with customers. And, you can pull all kinds of crazy stuff out of it. You get the notes out of it, you get action items. One of the things you can do is figure out the icebreakers, like what are they into? So I could figure out this customer loves champagne, right? As we'll talk about a little bit, or this customer is a huge NFL football fan, or they're a Swiftie. And then the next time somebody talks to them, they can actually remember that. Or if you want to send them a gift, you're like, let's send them a gift around that. And so there's an opportunity for AI to help us humanize the customer experience and humanize the employee experience.
Got it. That's actually really, really well connected. Because you're right, on its face, it doesn't seem like, it seems like they're polar opposites in many
Totally.
ways. So you're not saying it's a replacement for the human connection, but it's actually a enhancement, if you will, or you're adding additional tools for that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I think, of course we are all, people naturally, it's human to worry about like, hey, is it replacing my job? And I don't want to underemphasize, there's going to be big changes in society. We have to really make sure people are ready for it. And we're going to support the job loss that will happen in some areas, right? But I think a lot of areas, it's not about people losing their jobs. It's about how do we actually do more with the people we have now by taking some of the stuff we don't love off our plates and making us more productive. Simple example, like we all know, engineering is one of the areas that's already happening. And, no engineer likes writing test code or documentation or like a routine function that's been written like a million times, right? They like doing something innovative. And, you look at a lot of the AI usage, people aren't like firing their engineering teams. What they're doing is we can actually do more now, right? There's more stuff we can do, more innovation, which I think everyone will actually love.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Okay, great. Thanks for that. I
No
get,
problem.
I'm interested also in this human first concept, and so having it being built in your purpose statement. And you've obviously grown this company. Gainsight, has changed, I can imagine, many-fold times, and over the years. And I was just curious, how have you managed to keep it human first? In whether it's internally or externally, or like sort of all sorts of different ways. Where is that meant? Maybe like, how did it start? Where is it today? Do you see, paint the vision for how that continues to evolve? But how do you integrate human first into a company, and especially with the scale at where you are, quite sizable and large, do you find challenges with that? And, where do you see that continue to evolve when you think about a human first mission?
Yeah, I think that you always have to work on it for sure. I will say that maybe at some point it becomes part of your natural muscle, right? Like it becomes part of who you are. So in the list of like, I interview people. Sorry, when people come in, I'll ask them like, what's the best thing about Gainsight so far? And then when people leave, I actually talk to a lot of people on the way out. I want to thank them and say goodbye and all that. And I'll ask them, what's the thing we should hold on to? And it's always the culture and human first. I mean, over 10 years, it's always true. That people say things like, I've never worked at a company that actually believes in their values, or I thought this is all hype and it's real. And so I think the things that we do to try to sustain it, there's a few, I'll kind of break it down a few, probably 4 or 5 things. So one of them is, I think, of course, modeling. Like you are leaders, you can practice what you preach, and you're like, hey, how are you in terms of like showing up on time to meetings, or thanking people, or remembering things about them, celebrating their birthday, like things like that, right? And so I think there's something about who you are as a leader, being respectful, and not like taking the edge away, but also remembering that that person's a human being too. So that's one. I think you can definitely do that. Then you can communicate. So I have a weekly email to the company. And in that weekly email every Sunday night, I have like a section about like what's happening outside of work for me, like humanizing that side. And, sometimes I've opened up about, there's some things that are like light, like, hey, I last weekend we did like a family with the kids, like paint, you go to one of these places, you paint like pottery kind of thing. And of course I painted, Matt, you'll like this. I painted a little plate. I'm terrible at painting, but I painted a plate that says the tortured painting department. And it's on like a little plate. And I take a picture of that and I put it into the email, right? So there's some silly things like that, right? Or my kids or whatever. But then like also like hard stuff, and like talk about it, and like the challenges you have. And Ryan's been a really good friend over the last year, a lot of stuff I've gone through. And like, I told him, hey, I'm not going to be traveling for 6 months because I really want to take care of my kids. Or, I started seeing a therapist, and like being super open about that. And I think that humanizes. So modeling is one of them too. Then you've got, I think, the way you hire people. So interviewing, like that's not a surprise, but to me, the thing that there is actually been a learning for me, because we haven't batted 1,000 there, is hiring people, and when you're interviewing them, not making the bar on culture good, making it great. Amazon has a term they call bar raisers, and the idea is basically like you hire somebody and they should be better than the average person, right? Like they shouldn't just be. So lots of times when you interview people, you're like, hey, will they fit into the culture? Check. Yeah, they're fine. And I remember interviewing this executive who was a significant mishire, and we were all like, yeah, they're really experienced, have this great resume, and yeah, they seem fine on the culture stuff. I don't think they're going to be bad for the culture. And that was terrible. First of all, they were bad for the culture, but second of all, you don't want them to just be not bad for the culture, right? So making culture like something that is, you have to be an affirmative, like, oh my God, that person's amazing, not just oh yeah, they're fine, right? And then when I bring somebody on board, especially at the exec level, setting expectations. So I have a written document of executive expectations, and I'm actually rewriting it now, but kind of canonizing what are those expectations, not just at a fluffy level like human first, but like down to the level of like, you're going to do one-on-ones with your team every other week, and you're going to do X, Y, and Z, right? The little things that actually make the big difference. The last one that I'd say though, how do you sustain it? Anything in life, you have to care about it. Why do some companies not sustain their culture? Because it's not actually one of the most important things for the CEO. And when you go to the heart of hearts of it, the most important thing for me is the culture. Number one. Everything else is sort of like a means to an end, but like generally speaking, it's like the one I would lay on the proverbial railroad tracks for, so it has to matter.
Well, that's amazing. So inspiring. I mean, we've done some persona work on our end, and literally one of our main personas is the culture centric CEO. And it's
Oh
like
yeah.
you might as well put Nick Meta there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
I was just gonna say, yeah, you could replace that with it's like, oh, well, give me an example of who fits that persona. It's like, all right, one guy. Here he is.
Yeah, exactly. It's incredible to see what you know, again, your passion for it and your focus on it, how it you know, it blooms, I guess, right? Like it sort of like populates and it manifests itself. That was the word that I was looking for. That's really cool.
Manifest. I like it.
Um, and I totally resonate with the you know sharing vulnerability, all that stuff. I was curious on the when you interview with people, how do you tease out whether someone is a fit for culture? I mean, like, you know, that particular piece I would say is I never really thought about that or would think that you can do that with any sense of you know, conviction around whether they'd be a good fit, or is it a feeling? I mean, like, is there a test? Is
Yeah.
there, you know, tell us about that.
It's not a test for us, at least. But I wish you could be like, you know, you ask these questions. If they say this, then that, right? The two things that have worked for us, I don't think interviews one-on-one actually give you that much signal on that. Everyone's, if you're a reasonably good executive, you're good at interviewing. So yeah, that's hard to tell. But one is in a group setting. So we actually get we just did one yesterday for an executive role we're looking for. You get an executive come in and they interview in front of the group. So they actually interview with like in our case, our exec team. We give them an outline of stuff to present on, right? Talk about this. And you can get a sense of how they are in a meeting. And that's actually really good because then you get a sense of like what they're really like working. It doesn't give you a full sense. So then the second thing I do, I stole this there's a book called Who, which is a great book on interviewing if you haven't read it. And they have this idea that you ask a candidate, basically go every boss. When I call this boss, what are they going to say about you? Positive and negative. And what are they going to rate you on a scale 1 to 10? When, not if. That's a huge difference. And you get everyone. And then then the other thing I ask candidates is in a one-on-one interview, everyone has detractors. Who are your detractors going to be? Like names. And why will they be detractors? Right. Now, what's interesting is I hired a president and COO a couple months ago, 3 months ago, I guess I made the offer. And I was like, okay, give me your bosses. He gave them all and told me, you know, he said, you know, here's the things you'll hear about me. And then he's like, here's the list of detractors. Here's what they'll say about me, like names. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm like, give me like 20 or 30 names. So I went overboard. I don't recommend this, but I did 25 references back channel. And I called every single person he listed. And what was awesome was every single thing that they said was what he told me. And I think that the real thing is a part of culture or anything else is self-awareness. Are you aware of the impression you make on other people? Do you understand like that? And so to me, especially in exec level, EQ, right, is so important. And so this idea of like asking people their impression, asking their detractors, and then calling them, I think that's a formula I'm going to keep using.
Well, that's great. Thanks for sharing it. Maybe the last thought and question I'd be curious about is in this, you know, ever evolving journey, right, where you're placing human first, and you're trying to manifest that, you know, any challenges kind of come to mind that kind of, you know, you could share?
Yeah, totally. Like the one we're dealing with now is the purpose statement says to be living proof you can win in business while being human first. So there's actually like a lot to it. Human first is part of it. And the idea is basically human first is the thing that we're really passionate about. But, you know, we haven't proven anything if we can't be a winning business. So when we did a deal with a private equity firm called Vista a few years ago, and that was a very proud moment because we were like, hey, we proved that we can actually have a really great, you know, first exit with a big, well-known financial firm and still be human first, right? And then it was like, okay, how do we prove at this next level that we can still win? And so sometimes with values and culture, if you don't set it up the right way, it can feel like, oh yeah, Gainsight should do everything I want all the time for me, right? So, oh, you gave me negative feedback. That's not human first. You didn't give me a raise. That's not human first. You fired somebody. That's not human first, right? And people call that weaponizing of values, right? Not just at Gainsight in general. That's a term people use, is the values getting weaponized for somebody to make the situation what they want. And so when we explain to people, what winning is a huge part of it, right? Like that's a huge part. If we prove that we can be human first and we don't win, like then we're operating a bed and breakfast, right? We're not operating a bed and breakfast, we're operating a company. And so how do we keep that hunger of winning and not lose the human first and find that balance? That's the thing that I think we're going through right now is, how do you really evolve the winning side? And I think one thing that happened over the last 20 years with the bubble, however long we think the bubble lasted, depending on definitions, is there became a story that a company should do everything for me. So what is a company doing for my work-life balance? What's a company doing for my career growth? What's a company doing for my learning? And the way I think about it is a company should enable all those things, right? For example, we're big into work-life blend or balance, what you call it, Gainsight, and take any vacation you want. You don't take, like I do it all the time. Like I got to use this time to pick my kids up from school or take the dogs to the dog groomer or whatever it is, right? And everyone sees it, they know it. But I also get my work done, right? And I also, figure out how to get my work done. And like, it's very easy as CEO, but the way I think about it is if you're a company, you want to create the environment where people can have the balance they want, the learning they want, the advancement they want, but it's up to them to go do it. And so I think that's the other thing that we're trying to evolve. And I personally think this is like every tech company right now, is it's really up to all of us as individuals. Like you don't want to have lack of individual autonomy. Frankly, that doesn't feel good, right? It's kind of like the difference between the parent that says to their kid, I believe in you. I'm going to give you access to some resources. You're going to go figure out how to get an A in your class versus you're an 11th grader and I'm checking your grades and homework every day, right? Which, by the way, does happen a lot nowadays. That second one isn't good for anyone. It's not good for them. They don't feel any agency or autonomy. Once they don't have that support, they're in trouble. And this is one of the things you're seeing now is all of that support has been pulled away from a lot of people. And it's tough, right? Tough job market, tough to get promoted. And now people don't know what to do. Because for a long time, it felt like the company is going to give me everything possible. And I think that's awesome. We should do as much as we can for employees, but also recognize that one of the best things you can give people is agency. Like, yes, I believe in you to go do it, to go figure out how to get promoted, to go do what. By the way, at Gainsight or otherwise, I was talking to one of our teammates 2 days ago, and she'd been Gainsight 10 years. And she'd been doing the same job in Gainsight the last 4 or 5 years. And I was like, and she's like trying to figure out next career move. And I was like, yeah, you need to figure out, like, is there something new in Gainsight, or do you want to go do something outside? If you want to do something outside, I'll help you with find jobs and I'll advocate for you inside, right? But you got to go figure that out. And if you need to figure it out outside, I'm totally supportive of that, And so I think changing that mindset, something we're working on in Gainsight, giving our teammates more autonomy and agency so they can own their own destiny.
Yeah, well, that's great. And what I love is, we've been talking today about how it's important to build these connections first in what we've been talking about for our conversation here, the culture. And it makes me pause and think, right? It's like Gainsight being successful. Is it because, of the business elements, or is it because really you've built this phenomenal culture first, right? And then that's really propagated itself because people do have the autonomy, and maybe it's evolving, whatever. I'm sure it's going to get better than where it is, but it's, how you put that as a focus and then allowing the group of people that are, at your company at any given time to really flourish and figure out, how it is that they can manifest themselves in the best way. So I think
it's a great, by the way, what you hit on is, like, to me, a really good question in business. Does culture lead to winning, or does winning lead to culture? Right. And what's fascinating is, like, the way I think about it is the following: the big picture of whether you're like a $1 trillion market cap business, or you're 100 billion, or you're 1 billion, or you're 1 million, or you fail, is not about culture. It's actually about the strategy. The big picture. Like, that is, like, as an example, people are like, oh, Google, I love Google. Google's an amazing company. They're like, oh, Google had a great culture, therefore their business did well. I'm like, no, you got it wrong. Like, Google picked probably in the list of top 5 best business ideas in the history of humanity, they picked one of those top 5, right? Basically, like, amazing search engine with advertising that's paid per click. And then they added on, then they made so many other good decisions, buying YouTube, right? Android. And so they made some incredible decisions, and that created a lot of capital for them to fund culture, which then created some innovation and then that culture might create, for example, the transformer, which enables, our chat GPT and things like that. And so certainly the culture can help, but the business ideas matter a lot. Where the culture helps, though, to me, is when things aren't going well. So the difference, like I know, actually a very simple way to look at this is Glassdoor. So Glassdoor, I think, is a little bit, you can't take it as a total kind of, gospel, because, there's a selection bias of who fills it out, but it's directionally useful. And, Gainsight, I've been very fortunate to have a relatively high Glassdoor, but if you graphed it, you could see the difference between, let's say, like our high point might've been a 4.8 or 4.9 on Glassdoor, and our low point might be a 4.2 or 3, right? And it kind of has gone up and down. And you said, Nick, what caused it to go up and down? Did you change your culture, your people? I'm like, no, that graph's almost 100% to our sales attainment, or like growth, or like success.
Right.
So to me, like the ups and downs are tied to your success. The resting state, like the bottom, when things aren't going well, is your culture.
Right.
So you see some companies right now whose Glassdoor, because things aren't going well for a lot of companies, is like 3, which is unfortunately not very good. And it's because like they didn't have that cultural foundation. So when things are really good, it was awesome. But now when things aren't going well, everyone's like, yeah, I'm leaving. I was only here because I talked to somebody recently, and it was this like, he works at this super, I won't say which one, but super hot public company. And I'm like, that must have been amazing to work there. He's like, no, it was terrible. And I was like, why does everyone stay? He's like, because everyone is making so much money. And I was like, the minute that the music stops in that company, they slow down, everyone's going to quit. Oh, yeah. And this guy actually quit despite how much money he was making. And I feel like that's what it is culture is like your foundation, like what keeps you up when times are down. But then the business strategy is or success, or the economy, or whatever, that's what causes you to really rise up.
Yeah, I totally believe in that. My first job out of college was in private equity, and it was sort of a rah-rah.
Yeah, right.
Everyone was growing, whatever. And then we hit, the first crash, and then you really see, everyone there. You see everyone's true personalities. You see everyone's true motivations, and the environment. I decided right then and there, I was like, this is not for me, and kind of from there. So I totally said now. I do think you're being a bit modest on the Glassdoor thing. So 2023 #1 rated best company to work at in Glassdoor. That's just so amazing. I have to ask, though, how much of that was due to Coup Champagne that you give out to everyone?
Yeah, it was all Coup Champagne. You know what? I would just say the #1 business strategy is give Coup Champagne to everyone in the world, and you will absolutely you grow your sales, your Glassdoor, everything. So I sent a Coup Champagne bottle to Taylor Swift. She hasn't sent me a thank you note yet, but at some point.
Yeah.
So
okay,
yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I'd love to hear. I mean, like, what's been your experience? I know we started way back when. I mean, like our packaging was even different. As I remember it, I think you used us for a board meeting, and I'd love to see how it evolves. Like, what's your experience?
Yeah.
And what do you use it for? What have you found to be really useful for your human first culture?
Well, it's so interesting how, I think some businesses, they just kind of organically, like, they start with something really small, and then it's so valuable. It starts taking out. That's what happened for using Coup Champagne at Gainsight. And I don't know if Ryan, I should ask, we should look it up. Like, how many have we sent from Coup? Do you have any idea?
Oh gosh, it's got to be thousands, hundreds
thousands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so we've sent so many. So what happened? Well, I forget, a board meeting or something, and I just knew Ryan. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great little gift. And then people really like that. And I think one thing that's big to me is about not just the gift, but the packaging and the presentation, how it makes you feel. I think that's one thing that's really unique about the product is like, it's great champagne, but I actually think it's better sending this than it would be a bottle of whatever fancy Dom, Veuve, whatever you wanted. Like you can spend like 4 times as much on the champagne or any gift, in my opinion, but it's the packaging and the experience that what really matters. And so you got the beautiful box and the saber and all these kinds of things, right? And that case that looks like it's like a bomb case or something, like the really cool case that you guys have in there. And we started sending it after that board meeting to basically people that got new jobs in our industry. So we sell in a field called customer success. There's a job called like a chief customer officer. And so, we noticed on LinkedIn or something, hey, they got a new job. Hey, I have a whole workflow. Well, the workflow is I email my assistant. So I don't know what the workflow is after that. She probably emails somebody on your side. But hey, send this person a bottle of champagne. And oh my gosh, Ryan, like that. First of all, everyone says thank you and they love it. But then they text me photos with their family or their spouse drinking it. They post them on LinkedIn. So many, dozens of people post them on LinkedIn. And it's just like a thing that they're in a new job. Obviously, it'd be great to work with them again at Gainsight. And so it's kind of being top of mind and thoughtful, right? It's not like, hey, I just want to send you a bunch of Gainsight sales materials or whatever. It's just like, thank you and congratulations. Some of them might buy now, some later. You build loyalty. So then we just started using it in so many places. Like we were trading notes just a couple of days ago, Ryan and I, because we have a big conference next week. And, we've got some guest speakers on keynote speakers. I've got this guy, Andy Cohen, who's on Bravo. He's a reality TV guy and he'll be on. And we have all these people. We're going to do like different coup bottles for them. We have a big prospect coming and we're doing some personalized kind of coup bottles for them. So I would say that like specifically, we've had such a great experience with coup and just the presentation. And then more generally, the experience you can do by sending your clients or even employees. I've done this, by the way, for employees with a big milestone. I've done it. Actually, this might be a little surprising, but ties into the human first thing. Some employees who left Gainsight and got a big job, I send them that just as a thank you. And they're always like, wow, you sent me a champagne and I left. And I'm like, yeah, dude,
Right.
still matter to me. You're still a human being. And so the impact of like something that is really unique and surprising and thoughtful goes so far. And we get them engraved and all that too, right? So it goes so far.
Right. That's so cool. And we're big believers that that the first impressions and last impressions, right? And so
Exactly.
for you to send someone off who's been with you and obviously very meaningful or valuable to your company for some period of time,
right.
Let's not discount that. Let's celebrate that. I love that, and it speaks so much to our brand where we look at some things that maybe are not so obvious, but then when you think about it, it's actually quite obvious. It's like, actually, this is the thing that you should be doing rather than be like, oh gosh, tiptoe out on the way. We should be doing the exact opposite.
100% agree. Totally agree.
That's great. That's wonderful. Well, obviously, thanks for that. I wanted to do just a couple. I know we're running out of time here, so rapid fire on gifting.
Yeah.
Favorite gift you've ever given.
Okay, this is random. I would do besides coup certainly did the one that the most common, but besides that, I think it's so much powerful to just really be thoughtful, even if it's not something they're going to use. It's just them feeling. So we were I do icebreaker questions at every event we do. So did a dinner, I've done like 100 dinners over time probably, but one of them we did an icebreaker, which is like, what was your childhood dream? And one of the people said, I wanted to be a post office worker, right? And we literally sent the person a Halloween postal service worker costume. And I don't know if he ever wore it, but the guy brings it up to me like 5 years later as like one of the most thoughtful gifts.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Favorite gift you ever received? Anything that comes to mind? Besides the Taylor
oh my God. Well, it's so funny because when you're out like relatively public persona, people know I'm a huge Swiftie and I'm a huge Steeler fan. So I've got every kind of gift on both of those dimensions.
Right.
But the craziest one, because sometimes bizarre works too. One of my sales leaders, he's like, just wanted to send me a nice little thank you. And he got these socks made on Etsy that had my face as like a little bubble and like a separate face of like Taylor Swift. And they're the most bizarre. If you saw them, dude, you'd be like, these are the weirdest things. But actually some other people have seen them, they're like, what's wrong? That's so weird. And they're like, where'd you get those, by the way? And like, they want to do some version of that, not necessarily Taylor Swift, but some version of that, with their thing or whatever. And I was like, that's such a, sometimes zany things go a long way.
I love that. I know we're out of time, so I just wanted to conclude just by saying thank you for sharing some part of your story, the insights into Gainsight. It's super inspiring, and certainly, play on the word gift. I think you're such a gift to have this time here, and also obviously for your company, the leadership that you provide and those around you, and really pushing this human-centric, human-first culture. I think it's just so phenomenal, amazing. So thank you, Nick.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was great to see you, Ryan and Matt. Really appreciate it. And nice to see everyone else as well.
Yeah, Nick, thank you for joining. Ryan, Ashley, appreciate you as well. Everyone, go hit up the Gainsight Pulse conference in St. Louis. Then after that, you can fly to San Diego and attend RevOps AF with
Nice.
us and Ashley. And but with that, we'll let everybody run. So again, thank you to everyone who joined. Appreciate it. I'll see you all on the flip side. So take it easy.
Thank you.